Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Melvin, founder and CEO of Valerie's House. We know that reaching out after the death of someone in your family can be very intimidating. And so today on our Grieve Love Heal podcast, we're going to share a little bit about what that experience is when you make that first phone call or give us that first email. What happens after that? And hopefully this can ease some of that stress or anxiety with reaching out to Valerie's House. So I'm very proud to be sitting with Keri Tutterrow, who is a dear friend and was a volunteer with Valerie's House for years, and now helps with family care at Valerie's House. So she's going to be the first person that you might hear from after making a phone call or shooting off an email to Valerie's House. So I think this conversation should be very helpful to ease some of that stress and concern with what happens after you've made the decision that you want help from Valerie's House. Welcome, Keri.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here today.
You've been through your own grief. This is very personal to you. Share a little bit about your story and what brought you to Valerie's House and how you think that can help moms and dads and grandparents who are making that first phone call or email to Valerie's House asking for help.
Thank you for asking, Angela. For my grief story, I lost my father first. That was the first major death in my family. And I was 9 months pregnant with my son, Logan. And so that was quite a difficult time for me. That was before Valerie's House even existed. Mm-hmm. And then the second major death in my family was the death of my husband. At the time, he died when my two younger children were still in high school. And I was a school counselor at the time and remembered Angela coming and speaking to us. I remember you speaking to us and all of the school counselors. Mm-hmm. Still remember what you were wearing, that not knowing that eventually I would find my way to Valerie's House. So after being a school counselor for several years, I decided, and seeing the work that was being done at Valerie's House, recommending children's and families, I decided to start volunteering. And it filled my heart in such a special way and continues to fill my heart in a special way.
And then not too long ago, you decided to make the jump and come and work for us full time.
Yes, in the summer. Great decision.
I was going to say, yes. And that's not just been for us, but especially families out there. Not only can you relate with them when they're calling, your family has been there, but also all of your years working in the schools and understanding what it feels like to be in crisis. And sometimes we know when our families call us, that's what it feels like in their life after they've lost someone. What can you tell us about what it's like to get that first phone call or email from a parent or a loved one, a caregiver who is grieving? What's that process like, and what do they need to know about making that first phone call or email to you?
Well, I think first off, there's no right way to make the phone call, to create the inquiry. It's just all about reaching out. And so here at Valerie's House, we really pay special attention to our families who've reached out, knowing that the grief could be quite significant for them, depending on their situation. So when I reach out after receiving an email or phone call or inquiry, I think the most important thing is helping them to feel most comfortable and not feel like that there's anything that they have to do or share in that moment. When making that phone call, I try to be present for them and just ask a few questions, helping them feel comfortable, because can be quite difficult to take that first step when you're in the middle of grief. Mm-hmm. So
I know I used to get the initial emails before we hired you, years ago, even before the team grew. They would often come in to me, and they'd come in late night sometimes. You could look at the timestamp of an email and see it might be midnight. And I'm thinking to myself, this is probably someone who can't sleep and has finally decided, I need help. And we hear from many of you when you come to Valerie's House for the first time that it wasn't just one person who told you about Valerie's House. There might have been multiple people in your life who said to try Valerie's House, and you finally made that really courageous decision to ask for help for your children. After they make the phone call or the email, what happens during that call, and then what's next?
So when I reach out to the family or the caregiver, we just have a conversation about the person who died, their situation, things that they might be going through, and then we like to invite them in for a tour to come see Valerie's House, because it really is a place of hope and joy, and I don't think that you can fully grasp that until you step foot into one of our facilities or homes. So We like to get the family in for a tour of the kiddos and show them around, help them feel at home, help them see the type of environment that we have here. It's a very loving, friendly environment.
What if their children are nervous and don't want to come?
Yes.
What kind of advice do you have to the parents or the person calling to encourage their kids to give this a chance? Do you hear that a lot?
I do. I think there's so many different situations. It could be children of all ages, and it's just maybe sometimes trusting in the process and just encouraging your kids to just take that first step. Come to Valerie's house. We offer them a study when they get here, a journal, hugs if they need one at that time. It's just truly a place of joy, and just maybe conveying that message that when they walk in the door, they don't have to talk about their person right away. We're going to show you around. We might play a game of Jenga, do some fun activities. They get a little one-on-one time with one of our staff members. And it's just nothing to be worried or afraid of for the children, for sure.
I've even seen some of you out there playing basketball with the kids.
Absolutely.
During one of the enrollments and playing tag, really just doing whatever we can to make the family feel comfortable when they walk in.
Yeah.
Other things you think our family should know that might be listening to this and getting ready to make a phone call or ask to learn more about us?
I think when you taking that first step to make that phone call, we've actually had people just show up at the door without even an inquiry. If you could just take that first step, and again, coming back to that, trust the process, trust in the work that we do here, and the loving care that you will receive by, it's safe to say, all the staff members here at Valerie's house. And just allowing yourself to open up, which initially can be hard. You may really find some comfort and a little bit of strength in just that first step.
So the inquiry would come in either online or a phone call or stopping in. We then would bring you in for a tour, parent and children, or whoever's raising the children. And then during that enrollment, we're looking for a couple things, right? We're assessing the family and their grief to decide if this is the right first stop for them.
Yes.
How does that work?
Yes, so we will have a particular staff member meet with the primary caregiver who's taking care of the child, and then we'll have each child, if there's more than one child, meet with one-on-one with a staff member. And we're looking at, where is this child in their grief? Is this a recent death? Have they had a little time to process? Did this just happen a month ago, 2 years ago? What type of death occurred? And so we take all those things into consideration. And when meeting with the caregivers, we ask, how are your kids doing? How are you doing? What do you need? What do your children need at this time? Or, your grandchildren or your nephew or whomever, that could be so many different scenarios. Really trying to connect with them and see where the family is. And by using that information and having those conversations with the children and the caregivers, we can then meet to discuss the best group night placement for them. We want to make sure those kiddos and families feel like they have other people going through similar scenarios or grief type situations. So there's a lot that goes into that.
And I know sometimes maybe the peer group isn't the right first step, and we have individualized counseling as well.
Yes.
And then we have other partners in the community. So during that enrollment, we're really trying to understand, is Valerie's house the best place for your family right now? Or are there other places that we would recommend first before coming into the peer groups? Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? It's not always black and white, is it?
It is.
That's why we
not.
want to spend time with them on the front end, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's such a great question, because there are times if a death is really recent and you may have a child that isn't ready to be in a peer-led support group, that just may need a little counseling. From one of our staff members here, we can refer out maybe a little bit more one-on-one time before they feel ready to have those conversations within a group, and might be listening for the caregiver depending on the type of death that occurred and the whole situation within the family.
I know too the relationship with their family member that passed away. Right now at Valerie's house, we're primarily the parents or the sibling has passed away, or a primary caregiver or person in the home. So could have been a cousin, but the cousin lived at home with the children. Could have been a grandparent. The grandparent was primary in their life. And the reason that we do that is because of just the sheer numbers of kids in this community who have lost a parent or sibling is up to 20, 30,000 just in Southwest Florida. So we know that if we extended it beyond that to all grandparent loss or all family and friend loss, we simply would not have the space in our current facility to serve those families. So right now, Valerie's House is very focused, laser focused on death of a primary person in the child's life. Not necessarily divorce or even imprisonment, but actual death of the person. And so that's good, I think, for people to know up front, because that can be confusing out there, because grief really covers so much, when you think of grief. But we also know, too, as you mentioned, it's good for the kids to be in groups where there's similarities in there. They've all lost a person to a certain kind of loss, a health-related loss, maybe a suicide or overdose loss, maybe the loss of a brother or sister. Those are special nights at Valerie's house that they're going to be with other people like them. And boy, do we see them grow when they walk in, right? And they see that, wow, I'm not the only one.
Yes. They do grow in their grief, that's for sure.
Oftentimes, I think when families first come here, they don't realize how many other people are in this situation.
Oh, absolutely. Time and again. And I think, too, for our volunteers that volunteer, we have school counselors and mental health professionals, and they volunteer in the evening for our group nights. And I think they are just, it's significant.
Anything else you'd like to share with our families if they're curious that they haven't come to Valerie's house yet, but they're just thinking about it? Is there anything that they should know? What if they don't feel like they're ready yet to come to Valerie's house?
That's okay. We all go through that grief process differently. I know Valerie's house, we don't believe that there's any particular steps to grief. You may feel everything all at once. You may feel one type of emotion at a time, but just maybe making that first phone call, connecting with me or someone else here at Valerie's house. Maybe do a tour, and if you decide that you're not ready, then that's okay. Maybe it's in 3 months. Maybe your children are very active in sports or dance or art, and they're doing well in those things, and you don't want to remove them from those activities right now. That's still doable for your family. That's okay. We're not going anywhere. Valerie's house is going to be here. I love one of the things you say, Valerie's house is bigger than any of us, and we're going to be here when they're ready. Yeah.
Without question, if you just want to reach out and learn a little bit more about what we do, maybe you're not quite sure if this is the right place right now, please know that we're always available. We will get back to you within 48 hours. Keri, now you've met her. This will be the voice likely on the phone.
Yes.
And, if there are other things going on in the home too, that's where we can come in with some of our community partners. And as Keri said, maybe group isn't right for your child right now. The whole idea of being with other people and sharing about their loss. Maybe there's a lot of trauma that has happened in the home that a clinical counseling session might be the best first step. We're growing our clinical team here too, because we're seeing a lot of that happening in our community. So we're here for you. We're so glad that you're watching and listening to this. And please know that you are not alone in your grief and that Valerie's house will always be here for you.